All right, Owls, this is Mr. O back with the first set of flip notes for the third quarter. On Monday, we did Matter 1 notes in class. That was basically just talking about the different basic vocab. This one's going to get into properties of matter and how heat would affect matter. In your Matter TOC, this should be page number 6, and it's going to be Matter 2 flip notes. The standard is 6.P.2.2. Like on Monday, it was 6.P.2.1. You can see why I named them Matter 1, Matter 2, and Matter 3 is coming up later. So use the paper I gave you in class to help you complete this set of flip notes. This should be pretty fast. First, what we're going to talk about is property. We did property in soil, and we talked about the different properties of soil and how we use them to describe soil. Just like with this sneaker right here, properties are things used to describe something. So properties is coming back. The words meaning did not change. But we will be using property once again in matter, and we'll also use it with our next unit in waves. So up next is 3 properties of matter, and I wrote in capitals, do not confuse with 3 states of matter. The most common thing I see is when I ask about the 3 properties of matter, students will say solid, liquid, gas. 3 properties of matter are quite different, but similar. So number 1 is mass. Either it's going to be a definite or a not definite mass. Depending on what state of matter it is, will determine if it's definite or not definite. We'll talk more about that in class. The second property is volume. That also will be definite or not definite, depending on the state of matter it's in. And the third property of matter that all matter has is shape, which would be either definite or not definite. Remember, it is depending on what state of matter it is. Keep in mind, all states of matter have shape, mass, and volume. Just because something's not definite, it does not mean it doesn't have one. It just means it's constantly changing. So it doesn't mean it doesn't have a volume or a shape. It just says that volume and shape will be constantly changing. For example, a liquid takes the shape of a container. Well, that shape of the container could change, but it still has a shape. So keep that in mind moving forward. Next, we're going to talk about the effect of heat on matter. This is a big emphasis on how it's different from what you learned previously in elementary school to what you're learning in 6th grade. So with atoms, atoms do 2 things. They either move faster and spread out when heat is added, or they will move slower and closer together if heat is taken away. So I'll show you the picture here of solids, liquids, and gases. With solids, they're closer together and moving slower because that makes them, give them its shape. And then as you go from liquid to gas, they start to spread out and move faster. What is making this happen, or what can make this happen, would be the effect of heat on it. So atoms, they either move fast and spread out when heat is given, or take it. If you take that heat away, they will do the exact opposite. Next thing you need to know is called change in phase. There are 3 phases of matter that you learned in elementary school: solid, liquid, and gas. Change in phase happens when the movement of atoms changes. Either if they speed up or they slow down, that could lead to something changing from a solid to a liquid. For example, if I add heat to an ice cube, it will change from a solid ice cube to liquid water. If I continue to add heat to that same substance, it will turn into water vapor. So then moving into a gas state of all H2O, just a matter of what phase it's in. And now here's a picture that you don't need to know the words in black, but keep in mind that solids can turn into liquids, or solids can turn into gas. They can sometimes go in all 4 states of matter. Sometimes they can only go in a couple of them. But heat and movement of atoms determines what state of matter, or if it's changing the state of matter or phase. And last is states of matter. Okay. States of matter: solid, liquid, gas. Also, there's plasma. It's something that people don't tell you that. And you need to know that adding or removing heat can change that state of matter. We will talk more about the states of matter in class, but you need to know that heat can affect what state of matter it's in. And I have a picture here of a quite funny depiction of 2 snowmen. If she turns that hairdryer on, he is going to go from Olaf to a puddle. So keep in mind that the effective heat can change that state of matter. That's the end of these flip notes. I'll be checking these in class on Thursday.